Want to learn how to make pico? Hi, I'm Renee from Modern Homemakers, and today we're going to learn how to make pico de gallo. I could just eat this whole bowl all by myself. Yum! Does that make you jealous? Don't you want some? To make pico de gallo, you're going to need some cilantro, onion, tomato, optional salt, and if you want it spicier, you can throw in some jalapeno peppers or other kind of hot peppers. When you buy a bunch of cilantro, just take about half of that for your pico de gallo. So about half is all you're going to need, unless you're going to make a really big batch. You take the ends off, so just kind of snap them off with your finger. We want the leaves is what we want. This part is not very tasty. And it's okay to have some of that in there. Like I'm not super meticulous about this, so I'm going to snap down there. But sometimes you'll see these that I've torn off. Some of them have some of the stem on there, and that's okay. So then we've got that bunch with most of the stem removed. We're going to cut the half of an onion. So you could do this in the food processor, but then it's salsa if you blend it in the food processor. So the pico is larger chunks and it's cut up by hand. Take it there. So after I cut in half, then I do the dicing. This is actually just the other half of that onion because we're having chili. So make sure you watch the how to make vegetarian chili video and you'll see what happened to the other half of the onion. But pico goes really good with vegetarian chili. Also maybe make some homemade guacamole. Yum. Some cornbread. It's another thing that goes good with that meal. So we want this diced up kind of small, since this is we're going to be making our pico with it. Once I've gone through, I'll go through again just to make sure that my pieces of onion are small. I like a wooden cutting board. Some people like the ceramic, but the ceramic really will dull your knife. So I prefer to use a wooden cutting board. And we're going to just put all this in our bowl that we've got chopped. Cilantro is kind of hard to cut. You have to get it, just kind of bunch it up, make it real tight and as tight and as small as you can. And make sure you're watching what you're doing. And just keep on gathering it in together and bunching it up small when you chop it. I love the smell of cilantro. We've tried growing it, but it seems like we just haven't had real good success. It looks good, and you've got, it's growing well and producing well, and then the next thing you know, it's bolted and then it's all gone. So I don't know if we're doing something wrong with that or if it just has a short-lived season. So I find you can buy a bunch of it for 69 cents, and that's kind of what I've been doing. For right now, I've given up on growing it. After you make it through one time chopping it, then I usually go back and just chop again, maybe like this, just to oh, that smells so good. And just scrape that in there. And then last, we got the tomatoes. And this is just depends on how much you want to make. I'm going to do 4 or 5. Cut it in half. Make sure you get rid of that little stem piece. A lot of people don't do that. If you get, when you buy, have pico out at a restaurant, you'll notice that a lot of times that has that little stem piece in there. So the same way, just cut it in strips, turn it on its end, cut it again, keep it small. This doesn't take long. This is something that it tastes better after it's been sitting in the refrigerator a while, so make it ahead of time. A lot of times I'll make enough to last a couple days and it tastes great the next day. All the flavors just kind of marinate together. I'll probably leave this mild and not put a pepper in it this time for the kids, or I might divide half of it and leave half of it mild and put a pepper in the other half. And we're just going to continue that for the 5 tomatoes. I'm going to put a little bit of salt in here. You do want to reduce your salt intake, so I'm just going to use a little bit. Do use a high quality sea salt or don't use any at all. So this is Himalaya salt, or you could use the Celtic sea salt. And we're going to just make it light. Then we'll mix all of that in. So that half onion was plenty. I don't know, sometimes you get this at the restaurant and it's like all onion, no tomato. All right, let's see if it tastes good. Perfect. So remember, it tastes good now. It will taste even better after it's been in the refrigerator for a few hours.